Before we dive into Google Classroom, I always like to kind of just go through the list of people and see what you all think about Google Classroom so far. Looking through, all of you are, I, I'm one to say, no, I don't see any new teachers. Maybe, Kendall, is it your first year?
No, it's not.
I didn't think so.
No.
We have another Nicholson, and then I was like second guessing myself. So, okay. Just by, you can turn your microphone on. We're a small group, so you won't have to worry about talking against one another. It'll be good. But if you want to go ahead and hop on your mic or use the chat button, which if you don't know where the chat button is, you click right here, and that's going to open up the chat, and you can just type your answer in here and press enter. If you have used Google Classroom before and you know how to create your own Google Classroom, just let me know. You can say yes or no, or whatever.
Yes.
Okay. For those of you who may not know, I'll do a quick one because Kennedy is coming from kindergarten. Kennedy, I hope it's okay that I said that. She is transferring to third grade. And Kendall, yes, you also teach kindergarten too. So, yeah. Okay. And Kendall, just a little something for you. I'm hosting a seesaw class later on in July that you might really like. So if you start with Google Classroom and you're like, oh, I don't know if my kindergartners can do this, then okay, good. I think you'll really like it. However, I know that I'm working with the district to try to get our primary teachers a book called Google Apps for Littles. So I'm trying to get funding for that because I know that you all have really struggled more than anybody else because your babies didn't know how to use technology, didn't even know how to turn their Chromebooks on. So, okay. Now, for those of you who may not know how to use Google Classroom to sign up, and that is perfectly okay. That's why we're here. I'm going to open up a tab. Screen over here. So classroom.google.com is where you go. If you're on a Chromebook, down here on what we call the dock, there'll be this icon. It looks like a blackboard or a green chalkboard. And with the person on it, you can always click that as well. And your classrooms will look like this. If you have never been on Google Classroom before, I have a lot going on right now. It's PD time, so there's tons. But if yours is blank, that's perfectly fine. It will try to walk you through like all of the prompts. You don't have to worry about any of that. We're going to go through all of it, so you can just click the skip button or the X button. And if you want to split your screen while we're doing this, you can, if you're on a computer like a PC or a Chromebook, grab the top bar, or sorry, not the top bar. Grab one tab, so the tab of the conference call, and pull it over to where you see this little transparent looking box pop up and let go. And it's going to split your screen automatically for you. So you can press the other option that you want, and now you've got your screen split. I always like to show that in case people didn't know that. Okay. So that will let you work on both screens. Once you get here, any class that you're already enrolled in, you can see. If you ever want to get out of a class, like maybe 2 years ago, your principal put you in a Google Classroom and you haven't used it in 2 years, then you can click these 3 dots and you can leave. You find one that I'm in. You can unenroll. If you have a class that you no longer use and you want to archive it, you can also click those 3 dots and it'll give you the chance to archive your class. Now, to create a class, you're going to click this plus sign. And it gives you two options. As a teacher, you have two. Students only have one. They can only join classes for reasons that you could probably imagine. They try to create classes that look just like their teachers, and it's always a problem. So you click join class, oh sorry, not join, click create class, and you just give it a title. And feel free, if you want to work alongside, you totally can create your own classroom and archive it or begin working on one for next school year. The only thing that's required is the class name. You don't have to give it a section, a subject, or a room number. And then you just click create. It does take a couple of seconds because it's creating all the magic. And then it automatically will give you a theme, and we'll talk about how to change that later on, but it will automatically give you a theme in all of these tabs up here.
Stella, I have a question.
Okay.
Last summer, they updated it and changed it.
Yeah.
And I did like the changes. Do you know if they're going to do anything this summer, or will it look like this for those that are just learning it? I just wanted to let them know that it's possible that in the summer it can change.
Absolutely. It 100% can change, but they don't have anything planned out because they did do so many changes last year. I think a lot of their changes this summer are going to be coming to Google Meet, and they're not really going to change a lot about what we're on right now, but they have some changes to that. They have some other changes going to other platforms, but I haven't heard anything specifically for Google Classroom. That was a very good point.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Thank you. I appreciate it. And feel free, you all, to jump in at any time. Like I said, we've got 6 people, 8, well, 6, including myself. 8, including myself. We have a very small group is what I'm trying to say. And yeah, so feel free to jump in at any time. Once you have your class created, you can always click these 3 lines and go to where it says classes. I like to say home because it's got a little home button there. And that's where you see all of your classes stored. So inside of your Google Classroom, you have 4 tabs. The first one is stream. I like to think of this one kind of like your Facebook stream. It's where you can see what's going on and what the teacher has posted. If you have comments turned on for students, then they can talk to one another here. We'll talk about how to make that not an option in just a little bit, because I know as a former middle school teacher, that drove me absolutely crazy because I had kids just repeatedly typing hi over and over, and I was getting notifications for every single one of those. Also on the stream, teachers can see this full class code. I'm going to click this little box beside of my code, and then I'm going to click it again. You can make it be very, very big. If you teach little people, I would highly recommend telling your parents to not join this Google Classroom with their personal emails unless everybody did that. Like if you had all of your students sign in with their mom's email addresses or their dad's or whatever, then that would be fine. But if a parent signs up with this and their child is signed up, whenever you have your assignments and you're trying to grade, you're going to have a lot of missing assignments because those parents aren't turning the work in. And that can make it be very, very, very confusing when you're trying to grade. Also, if parents are signed in with their personal accounts and students are signed in with their student accounts, underneath people, students are able to see the entire roster of who's in. So just keep that in mind. We'll talk about how to do the guardian summaries in a little bit because I know that parents always want to know what's going on in the classroom, and sometimes schedules are busy and they don't have enough time to look at every classroom that their student is in daily. So we'll talk about But the stream is pretty cool. You can type right here and just give like an announcement to all of your kiddos. You can even add any materials that you want to. When you click the add button, it gives you 4 different options. You can add things directly from Google Drive. You can add things as a link. So, like if you had a Newzilla article or you had any link to any website that you ever wanted to use, then you could click this, insert that link right there, and click add link, and it will automatically add it. If you have something on your computer, let's say that it's a PowerPoint instead of something from Google Drive, you have a PowerPoint or a PDF saved on your computer, you can totally click that and it will let you upload it. And then, of course, YouTube, you can just search for the video here. I always like to look up cats, and then you just add it. But keep in mind that any video that you add, you do need to go to YouTube and approve that for students. Add. Okay. Once you have everything added that you want, then you just press post and it will show up. The arrow beside of post will show you how to schedule. So let's say that you didn't want that to show up until June 9th at 8 a.m. You can do that, or whatever time that you want. And you can schedule it to show up. And now it's under saved announcements, but students won't be able to see it until the time that you picked. To approve videos on YouTube, just in case you all don't know how to do that, I'm going to open it with YouTube. Okay, underneath all videos on YouTube, there is this blue bar and it says video not approved. If you click approve, it will automatically just change it and make it to where students can watch on there. All right, questions so far, or are we doing pretty good? Okay.
Sorry, I have a question.
Okay, awesome.
So I didn't use my stream for any of that. I always just go to classwork. Is that okay?
That's perfectly fine. And I'm going to show you some tricks on the settings to make even your assignments won't show up on your stream if you don't want them to. For me, this is really useful for my PD sessions. Yeah. Hi, Kevin. How are you? If I had like a lot of students not turning in work, maybe I would post an announcement here like saying, hey, you want to make sure to check your classwork, stream, or whatever. It would also be a good place to post your syllabus and any like rubrics that you might use that they need quick access to. Underneath of that, like whenever you're creating an announcement or even an assignment, if you are a teacher that teaches multiple classes, like if you're in elementary school and your students rotate, or if you teach middle school or high school, then you can click where it says for, and right now mine has this title of this classroom in there. I can add it to multiple classes all at the same time. I love that option because as a former middle school teacher, I had 5 different science classes that I met with every day, and that saved me so much time for not having to post it every single class. The only bad thing is, if you do that, it will not let you schedule it. So that's the only downfall. You can also assign it to just certain students. Let me go to a class that I have kiddos in. Not really kiddos, it's all fake accounts, except for Audrey's account. If I want to make an announcement, then I can add whoever I want to it, and only those students that I click on will be able to see that announcement or assignment. It's the same way on both. Okay. Over here to the side, any due dates that are coming up, I'm going to see those right there. So that's pretty convenient. Okay. So that's pretty much it with the stream. And it's super, super, super confusing at times, I think, because everything that you post, whether it be on the classwork page or whatever, is going to show up on the stream account. Let me go to one of my PD sessions and show you. So see how I've created things and it automatically posted that to my stream? That can sometimes be confusing for students. And sometimes students get into a bad habit of clicking here and seeing the work instead of going to the classwork, seeing all of the directions, seeing the topics and all of that. So if you ever want to take your stream and make it to where your assignments won't show up, you want to click your settings wheel. And this is also where you can go in and change the title of your class. And then scroll down to where you see general. And then under stream, where it says students can post, classwork on the stream, where it says show condensed notifications, you can make it show attachments and details, or you can hide notifications. If you click hide notifications and press save, it will only show the announcements that you make. It won't show any time that you post the classwork assignment. All right. Do you all have any questions or anything so far? I see 2 chat bubbles. Okay. All right. Awesome. So now what we're going to do is switch over to the classwork page. Something new that Google came out with recently for Google Classroom, with all of the pandemic and everything going on, they were trying to make it easier for teachers to use Google Meet. Because in the past, Google Meet is one of those tools that was not designed for education. So when all of those privacy scares came out for Zoom, a lot of districts were questioning Google Meet as well. So if you start a Google Meet inside of your Google Classroom, what that means is that if a student tries to sign into that Meet and they are not in this classroom, it's not going to let them. You can still approve people from outside of the organization being FCS, if they try to sign in with a parent's email or something, it pops up on the window saying so-and-so is trying to get in, and then you can allow or block. The reason why that's so important and so cool is that you don't have to worry about what they were calling Zoom bombing, to where random people were just finding links on Facebook or wherever and jumping into students' classrooms and posting inappropriate pictures. Because people are scary and bored. They have a lot of time on their hands right now. But I really do love that Google Meet session. Also, if you click on it, it will generate that link. And then you can copy and paste that into remind messages or however you get your links to students and parents. You can make it visible to students or invisible. If you make it visible, that just means that it's going to show up on your screen underneath where we see the class code. Students won't see the class code, but they'll see that link. If you want to make that be invisible, then you can, and just post that link directly inside of your Google Classroom. So this is what it looks like whenever you're joining. If I have my camera turned on, you can see me. You can see that I'm talking down here in the bottom. And you click Join Now. You would do the session just like we're doing right now. And at the end, if you are the last person to go into that meet, or sorry, exit the meet, that means the meet will close. and you don't have to worry about students being able to get back in because the link will not be active again until you as the teacher start it back. However, if you leave before the student, then the classroom will still, or the Google Meet session will still be active, and then they'll still be able to communicate with them, which could be a problem if you teach middle school kids like I do. Or, I don't know, I'm sure elementary students could probably find some inappropriate things to talk about sometimes as well. Okay, I'm going to come back to these other two options in just a minute, but the classwork page is where you can go in and you're creating all of your assignments. So to do that, you just click create, and it gives you a lot of different options. Right now, I'm just going to show assignments. When you click that, it brings up this window, and it gives you all of these different options. A lot of these will look familiar from what we talked about on the stream. But when you title assignment, I really, really, really recommend, especially if we are NTI, to number your assignment. The reason why is because if you are emailing parents and you teach multiple classes or you have multiple assignments per day, elementary teachers, I know that you all have like all of the content, so I can't even wrap my mind around how you would name your assignment. But if you number them, you could send an email to a parent saying, hey, today's assignment in Google Classroom is number 1. If you have questions, let me know. Inside of Infinite Campus, you could even put GC for Google Classroom number 1 or whatever. That way parents know that, oh, that was a virtual assignment and it was assignment number 1, and I can go and check that with my student or my child. Under instruction, if we are NTI again, ever again, like even if it's just a snow day or whatever, or even if it's just like you're using Google Classroom in its traditional setting, it never hurts to put a parent corner here and maybe post a link to show them how to do the assignment. It could be a video that you do, or if it's a math problem, it could be a Khan Academy video just showing them how to work out similar problems or anything like that. So you can put parent corner there. You could also put student directions here. You can have as much text as you want. This is completely unlimited, and you can type whatever it is that you want to type there. Underneath the instructions, you have 2 buttons. If you click Add, you're going to see the same options as before. This time, I'm going to click Google Drive. It will automatically go to my recent folder for things that I've recently worked on. And let's say that I want to give my students an assignment, and I want it to be this choice board. If I click the Add button, it's going to give me the options to where students can view the file, students can edit the file, and make a copy for each student. If you click Students Can Edit File, that means that every single kid in your class is going to have the option to edit your master copy. Sometimes that's super handy, especially if you're using this button and only assigning that to certain students. However, 99% of my time, I click make a copy for each student, so every child has their own editable copy, and they're not messing up my master. We don't have to worry about them deleting other students' work or whatever. If you automatically, like if you say you make it students can view file and you forget to change that to make a copy for each student and you click assign, you'll have to delete that assignment and then reassign, because once you click it, it can't change it to make a copy for each student anymore. You can only change it from view to edit. Kevin, don't be scared. Collaborative, that's the word I'm looking for. collaborative documents, they can be scary, especially for those high school students. That's why we have that revision history part. I've made the mistake of doing whole group, like entire class editing one document before, and it worked after I set some norms. Like I had to bring out my mean teacher voice a couple of times. Y'all are going to maybe get gray hair because you keep deleting things that should not be deleted. All right. The button beside of add is the create button. And that is kind of new. That's one thing that Laura was talking about, how they added things last year. That is a new feature. So let's say that you are in a PLC with your team and you are wanting to create something from scratch, or even if you're not in a PLC but you're working by yourself, you can create directly from this assignment. So you can create a Google Doc, Google Slides, sheets, drawings, or forms. And once you do that, just click whichever one you want. You'll be able to edit that blank document or whatever you picked. And then go back and you'll be able to do the same thing that you did before from those same options. Over to the side, you have those same options as we had on the stream. You have points. It automatically makes every assignment be worth 100 points for whatever reason. If you leave that as 100 points and then in the grade book you have it worth 10, then you might find some parents being concerned or whatever. So make sure that you go in and change that if you want to. I highly recommend giving due dates on assignments, even if you're going to extend it, only because it's going to show up on students' calendars, which I'm going to show you in just a few minutes, and it will allow them to go back and reflect. So I'm going to give you more information about that in just a minute. And then topics really will make your Google Classroom classwork page be super user-friendly for your kiddos. So I always recommend creating topics. You can have these topics be like week 1 or June 8th through June 12th. You can make the topics be homework or classwork or whatever. If I could spell homework, that would probably be more appropriate there. But those topics is what's going to really help your kids. Maybe if you're an elementary teacher, you want to have a topic for math, a topic for language arts, whatever else. So just however you want to organize your classroom, you have free range. I'm going to come back to rubrics later if we have time because they're super cool. But if we don't have time, I will be talking about those for sure in the semi-pro. And originality reports are really nice. They check student submissions for plagiarism. However, Google has made that a paid-for feature, and you get 3 for free after the beta ends, and then the rest of them will have to be paid for. So that kind of stinks. However, you can always just highlight all students' work and copy and paste that into Google, and if multiple links come up with a lot of the same text, then you know that it could be plagiarized. Once you have everything set up, you can click Assign. That arrow will let you save as a draft or schedule as well. I'm going to go ahead and assign it. And now on my classwork page, I have topics over here. And once my stream gets really crazy, like long, or my classwork page is really crazy long, I can click on a topic and only see those things within that topic. I can't see like everything within the classroom anymore. And that can kind of help our students with our students that get overwhelmed very easily. That could help them just be a strategy. I also want on the classwork page to say that the main bottom option under the create button is topic. And if you were to go in here and create topics right now for next school year, you can do that, and students can only see those topics after they have published posts within them. So right now, even though I as a teacher can see that, as a student, I wouldn't be able to. I can only see the homework because I've got an assignment in that. And now whenever I go in to create another assignment, underneath topics, I have two different topics to pick from. You can also move these assignments around. So if I wanted number 1 to show up first, I could just drag it. If I wanted homework to show up first instead of classwork, I can always just grab those and drag them as well to help me keep my classroom organized. Also, under the create button, you have the quiz assignment. And quiz assignment will allow you to create directly here. I've added a Google Form PD session for this summer and also a Google Forms Go at Your Own Pace session. If you do not know how to use Google Forms, I highly recommend that you take one of those sessions, or if you want like a different session with me, I can totally show you how to do it. Google Forms will grade themselves, and they have so many capabilities. So that's all I'm going to say. But if you want to know more, sign up for one of those PDs. In here, it looks exactly like the other assignment page, except it automatically will tie in a Google Form. If you turn this locked mode on Chromebooks, that means that when students are taking this Google Form on a Chromebook, they will not be able to open up another tab or venture outside of their Google Form until they turn it in. It sounds amazing, and it totally is in theory. However, it does lock up Chromebooks sometimes. I only know that because I know as from talking to teachers, they would have students not be able to open the quiz. It would say that they needed to request access, even though they were signed into their student account, and that could be a total. So I always recommended if a Google Form was having issues to turn that off and try again. Hopefully to get those kinks worked out, because that is a great feature. So to edit the quiz, you would just click where it says blank quiz, and you can edit it right there inside of Google Classroom. And as you work, it's going to automatically save those questions. So you would just go in and you would edit this the way that you want, make it have the questions that you want to on it. And then once you have it created, you would just assign that the same way that you would anything else. And it would automatically post that in your classroom unless you scheduled it. To see who has turned it in, you're just going to click on the assignment. And when you have students in here, it's going to tell you like 15 assigned, 0 turned in. And then as soon as students start turning that in, the number from assigned is going to start going down, and you will automatically be able to see how many have turned in. I'm going to go back. Edit this. When I was creating that assignment, underneath it, you see the little slider bar that says grade importing. That is a super handy tool because it's automatically going to pull the grades for the students that took it, and you will automatically be able to see their scores on a list and you click View Assignments. So they'll just be right here. Filtered down. And you don't have to worry about doing anything, but you can click Import Grades, and it will automatically show them. And every time that you click it, if a student took it tomorrow instead of today, and you want to pull their grade tomorrow, you can click it again. You don't have to worry about doing it too many times. Do you have any questions so far? Because I know I've given you all tons of information. And hopefully I'm not talking too fast for those of you who like to write notes, because I know I'm a writer. Okay, good, Kevin. I'm going to get a drink of water. Do you all need some time to play around with Google Classroom? I planned on giving you all a chance to play around with it at 10, but if you all ever feel like your brain is about to explode, let me know. We can take a break. All right. Not seeing any questions. Under Create, you have a couple more, and you have questions and you have material. So question is super handy because you can ask your question here. Number it again. And then it gives you the option to have it be short answer or multiple choice. So students cannot see one another's answers unless you check this box. And if that box is checked, if it's a multiple choice, you're just going to see like a graph, and it's going to be completely anonymous. So you can post that in there, but they won't see the chart or the graph until they've submitted their own response. So if you have it multiple choice, you're going to be able to type in your options here, and they would just click the bubble for which one that they wanted to reply with. You can even have these scheduled to show up at the end of a class. So if you know that your class is going to be ending at 10 o'clock today, you can have it scheduled to pop up at 9:55, and that will be the perfect exit slip or bell ringer, and you can have them all right there. If you're asking this as a short answer question, you can have it to where students can reply to one another and students can edit their answers. You can also add any attachments that you want to, like we've seen in previous features inside of Google Classroom. And when you press Ask, it will automatically have those right there on the class web page. The last one is a material, and materials are things that you're not going to be able to make a copy for each student of. So like, for instance, if you wanted to post the syllabus, you could add your syllabus here. Or if you wanted to post a YouTube video to help them with an assignment, you could do that here. Remember that if you make a Screencastify video for your students, it's going to be housed inside of Google Drive or YouTube, however you do that. And you can post those here as well. And if you don't know what I'm talking about with Screencastify, it's a video recording Google Chrome extension, and we do have a PD session coming up later this summer. Screencastify is one of those things that I could talk about 24/7 because it's just the possibilities with it are completely endless. But if you want to learn how to make your own videos, come to that session. So once you get that settled in, you can have a topic for it if you want to, or if you click no topic or just leave it alone, it's going to show up above all of your other topics. And let's say that you do that, because I do that all the time and I forget to put a topic. I'm like, dang it, I wanted to put that under classwork. I could click these three dots and click edit, and then go in and change it. Something else that I found to be super helpful for teachers was during NTI, we wanted to share everything with our parents that we could, give them all the resources without overwhelming them. Each individual Google Classroom assignment and topic has its own link. So let's say that instead of doing quizzes, classwork, homework, whatever, that you had weeks. So you said week 1, and you had math homework here, language arts homework, or all the assignments that you wanted your kiddos to do. You can click these 3 dots and copy that link and send it to your parents in a remind message or however you get information to your parents. And when they type in that link or they copy it or they paste it or whatever, it's going to send them to that classroom, and it's only going to send them to that topic or that assignment if you copy the link for that one. That they would have to be on their student devices in order to see that, or if you have a classroom where parents are doing it. I do know that some teachers had posted a Google Classroom just for parents. That way, parents could get in there and ask questions, but also a Facebook group or whatever that you share those links. I'm going to close out some of my tabs. I don't want my computer to start slowing down. The very last thing on this create menu is the reuse post. And reuse post is fabulous because it shows you all of your classes. And if I wanted to add an assignment for this class that I taught last week in one of my other classes, I could find that class, find that assignment, and reuse it. So it's going to automatically pull that assignment, and it will then be posted in my new classroom. It also shows any archived classes that I have. So let's say that I have a class from 2017 that I want to reuse an assignment for. I could do that. I could go in and find it and just click reuse, and it automatically makes a new copy for this class. And I can edit that assignment however I want it to be, and then just add that topic. It automatically will try to add it to the topic that you already had in your other class. If you don't want it to be in that, you can click the X button and add it to wherever you want, and it will automatically be there. The last 2 things to show you on the classwork page is this Google Calendar and Class Drive folder. If you click Google Calendar, and mine's going to be crazy, I'm sorry, I've got tons of stuff on there. Students won't have this many things, this much, these many calendars. So you can see that, like, if I have a classroom and I have assignments that have due dates, it's automatically going to have that assignment in there. If I'm a student, then I can click on that assignment and I can see the link for my copy of that assignment. I can see the link to the Google Classroom assignment. And if I click on it, then I can go and see that. That's cool for current use, but let's say that I know I have a test coming up next week on the 19th, and we've been in this unit since June 1st. I could go back and look at all of my assignments just for that one class in one location. And I could jog my memory saying, oh yeah, I did do that assignment. I didn't do so well on it. I want to go back and reflect on it. It's also really useful to have students to click this pencil, and you can even have them go down underneath in this little text box and type up a student reflection about how they did on that assignment. and kind of use this as a virtual agenda or a virtual reflection journal. I do that a lot myself, just to add notes. Okay, so the Clash Drive folder is one of the folders that drives, no pun intended with the drive, but it makes almost every single teacher go insane because when you have students turning in work inside of Google Classroom, it all goes to your shared with me folder. And sometimes teachers get really, really, really annoyed because they can't find their original. So one thing I always recommend is returning the work to the students, which we'll talk about in just a minute. But it still is going to be in your drive. So if you are someone who has a hard time finding your original copies, I always recommend creating a folder inside of Drive just for that class or just for your hard copies or your originals and working only in that folder when you're creating those. I know that's not the best option, but if you delete your Google Classroom folder, it also deletes it from student accounts as well. And sometimes, I know not always, but sometimes students have work that they would like to go back and read. Okay. We're going to take a little break because we are halfway through in this session, and I want to give you all time to just play around with what you've learned already and ask questions and maybe stretch and get something to drink. But I'm going to be sitting here, so if you have questions, please let me know. I'm going to put a timer up too for 5 minutes, and then we'll start back after the timer is done. But I'm still sitting here, so if you need anything, holler at me. I'm going to pause the timer so it don't beep. Because the beeper always is like, ah, why is it so loud? So, oh, I said that. So I didn't see any questions, and you all were quiet. I hope the break was good. Gave me a chance to check my email. I had a lot of people still emailing me about the link. So hopefully, we might have some more people joining in, but hopefully the break was good. Okay. So I want to show you right quick what I do to see the Google Classroom as a student. Because I know whenever I first started using Google Classroom, it drove me insane that my teacher version did not look like you are, Kevin, a very good class. My teacher version did not look like my student account. And that I couldn't model for my students what they needed to do. So, whenever I have that problem, I open up my personal Gmail account and I just join my classroom. So you can see in my personal, I'm mostly just in my own classroom here. So this is what that looks like. I just type in my code, and that way I can check the classroom to make sure it looks like I want it to as a student. So I want to do that right quick, only because I want to show you some things on the classwork stream about grading, and it's really hard to show you that without students. So students will just type in the code, and just like the teacher edition, it looks very similar. So this is my stream. I can see upcoming due date assignments and all of that stuff. So that's pretty handy. But the only thing that's missing is the grade. I don't have access to that. And as a student, I don't need access to that grade book. And we're going to talk about grade book in the future here. But if I look at classwork as a student and I go into this assignment, I can't see how many students have turned it in and how many students it's been assigned to. Okay. If I click view assignment as a teacher, it shows me all of my student work and instructions. If I click view assignment as a student, it looks different. So here I have the option to click on my my original. Over here is the student's work. So where it says your work, that's the student. They can click add or create, and they can do everything that the teacher can to create their own documents or whatever, or add anything they've already created. This is how they turn it in. This is the private comments and the class comments. Students will click on this assignment and it will open up their work for them. And one of the best things about this, of course, it makes that copy for every single student, but it also puts that student's name directly on it. That way you don't have to worry about them forgetting to put their name on there. So they just edit however they want. Hopefully we have better students than what I'm exampling here. And then they just come back over to their Google Classroom and they press turn in. And then anytime they press turn in, if they go back to their document, then that means that, I love Google whenever it makes me try to sign in. Well, it makes it to where students can't edit that copy anymore. because they're going to be view only. The reason why it does that, once students turn work in, they can't go and edit to say, oh, I turned that in on time. So it's going to freeze their ability to edit. Unless they press unsubmit, and then they'll be able to edit again, but it will automatically update when they resubmit that document. So if you've ever wondered how you're going to show your students how to use this account as a student, I highly recommend, if you don't have a Gmail account or you don't have a child that's a Franklin County student like I do, to use her account, then just create yourself a free Gmail and hop in and you can make videos. I'm going to offer another Google Classroom for parents and maybe a Google Classroom for students once school gets closer to beginning. Okay, I'm going to close that out again. So you can see now on that assignment that I have one student that turned it in. If I had more students in the class, I would see that there's still more assigned. If you've never graded things inside of Google Classroom before, this is what that looks like. So you go to classwork, find the assignment, click view assignment, and then if you have multiple students, all of their work is going to be filtered here, kind of like what I call a Pinterest board. It looks exactly like Pinterest, and you can click on individual students, but when you do that, it will open up a grading window. So you're able to see the student's work here. And this is the Google Slides presentation. So if she had more slides, I could click on those and go through. You can leave your comments exactly the way that you would if you want to leave them any feedback. Over here is where you enter your grade. And then you can add private comments here.
Stella, so I don't know what I've been doing wrong, because sometimes when I click find assignment, view assignment, and it goes to the sheet that has all the kids there and it said they completed it. And if I click on them, it won't give me anything.
Huh. So like if you're here.
Right. If I'm right there and I click on that kid, it won't show it to me.
Really?
So why is that? What am I doing wrong?
Is it just at home, or is it like when you're at school too?
It's not homework. I hadn't done homework on that. It was mainly back before we went home to teach. It was like at school when they were doing assignments and I would click on it. Maybe I wasn't hitting view assignment. I'm not sure. What do you think?
Maybe if you click on their names, it won't open anything.
That's what I was doing.
And if you click down here underneath it, see how it turns blue?
Well, I'll just play around with it and see.
And I'll show you also, if you ever have that problem, maybe the grade book, like you'll be able to open it from there. But that shouldn't be the problem, unless you were just clicking on their icon or their name.
I might not have had it in there correctly, but I was just wondering about that. Thank you.
Yeah, that would be very frustrating. If that happens again, let me know. I want to know. I want to see what it's doing, because I've never heard of that before. That would be very frustrating as a teacher to not be able to see the work. Inside of here, though, once you do leave your feedback, you can also leave individual comments on sections. So like if you highlight something, this little bubble with the plus sign, that's how you leave your comments. And whenever the student is viewing it, they'll be able to see. When I said that you had to return the work to the student in order for them to make corrections or to be able to edit or whatever it is, you can click right here, and that will return that work back to that student. Talk to your kiddos about why you returned it. A lot of times I return work saying, hey, you did a good job, here's your work, so you can see your comments, I'm just giving you your grade. And then they would resubmit it thinking that I'd returned it for them to redo. So tell them that it's Google's way of passing back out the papers to them. Just like whenever we have a paper test, we return that paper test to the students. We want to make sure that they're getting their work back. And then if you have multiple students to turn in this assignment, you wouldn't have to go back to Google Classroom and open that up. You can use this little drop-down menu. So if I click this little bar, I can sort this by student last name. I can sort it by first name. I can sort it by status. I can also just use these little arrows and go on to the next one. So if I had my next student being Audrey Pollard, I would click my arrow and then it would show me Audrey's work. Then I could just type in her assignment, post my grade. And then if I forget to return, like I don't want to return every single individual student because it takes time, I can go back to where my graded button is and click this checkbox and return the work for all of my kids at one time. Where I only have one student, it's highlighting all students. But that's a pretty handy feature. If you ever need to copy all of the grades of an assignment to a Google Sheet, you can click on the settings wheel here, and it will do that. I can't really think of anything that would be useful for because we already have Infinite Campus. But if you ever need to use that, you've got it. If you're working inside of a grade or an assignment and you want to see the instructions because you can't remember what you told the students or you can't remember the what the original copies look like, you can always click instructions and see that, and you have that box there to edit. To get back to your classwork page, I always just click the title and then just go back to classwork. And now you can see that I have 1 graded, 0 assigned, and 0 returned. So that's how you use that classwork page. In the Civic Pro class later on today, I'm going to be talking about those rubrics that we saw whenever we were creating an assignment. So if you are interested in that, you can join me back at 2. But I'm going to continue on to our next tab, which is people. Let's say that you have a content partner. So let's say that my content partner is Jim Masters. I could click this little person and I could invite Jim as a teacher to my class. And then it's going to send him an email saying, hey, Stella Pollard has invited you to co-teach this class. Do you accept? And he would either accept it or decline. And then you can add as many teachers as you want to. I think it's up to 10. So that would be really handy if you're teaching a collab class or if you have a student teacher or you just want to share your classroom with another person. Down here, you do have the option to type your students' emails in one by one, or if you have a list of your students' email addresses, then you can copy and paste from that list directly into here. So for instance, let's say that I have a Google Sheet that is like got a column of all of my student emails. I could copy and paste that right here. You can get that from Infinite Campus. Actually, I take that back. Your school secretary or attendance clerk or whoever has the best relationship with you, ask them if they can get it through their ad hoc inside of Infinite Campus. You might have the option. My Infinite Campus is different, but yeah, you can totally do it. I've done it for students or for teachers before. So if you don't feel comfortable asking them, I can help. Just add me as a co-teacher and I'll do it for you. That's super helpful for those of you who are teaching kindergarten, first, second, maybe third, and you want to add your kiddos in without them having to type in that code. So that's pretty much it for the people page. But if you had more students in here, like I said before, every person that's a student is going to be able to see the entire roster of students within here. So I say that just because you're going to have some teachers or some parents who are going to be able to see names, and that could be just confidentiality breach. I'm going to add Audrey, my daughter, to this class. And I'm going to just give you, only because I want to show you what it's like to set up email guardians, but also to show you something. If you have had students with our NTI work say, hey teacher, I am not able to see the copy, it's because they are signed in to Google Classroom here. That's their account. But up here, they're either signed in to their personal account or a brother or sister's account or a parent's account or some other account that is not their at franklin.ky schools account. That sometimes can run into a problem because they're signed into Google Drive in a different account and it's trying to open it up in whatever account they're signed into. So they're going to click up here, the side of these three dots. They'll click add, and they will sign in using their Franklin County schools. So I'm going to do that. It's going to tell me that Audrey's account is already associated with his Chrome, but yeah. So she'll just click sign in. And what that does, it opens up two different windows instead of different tabs. And this time Audrey's going to be signed in, and she'll be able to go to her Google Classroom and do everything that she needs. It's being slow. But did you all have that issue this past fall? Did anyone have that where students couldn't see?
I had. Go ahead.
No, you're fine.
Okay. I had a teacher on my team that a student kept saying they weren't on their classroom, but they were. We could see they were, and they weren't seeing everything. So that's probably what was going on.
And if you have multiple people using the same Chromebook or the same device, if it's a phone, it's also really good to do that. I can't remember passwords today. Well, they would type in their password and they'd be logged in. So that's it. And I'll make a video that you all can share with your students, or if you want to make a video showing them how to do that, you totally can. That's just one of those tricks that makes it really hard for the students whenever they're sharing devices. I'm going to sign in as Audrey here. I'm going to go to my classroom. Ask me to sign in again. Let's see if I can type the password incorrectly. There we go. Okay, so students will have to click join if you typed in their email addresses. Now that she's a student in the class, I'm going to refresh my page. And beside of her name, you're going to see where it says my email address and invited. If a student in our Franklin County domain has had a teacher at any point in time add a parent's email address, that email address is going to be associated with that student the entirety of their Google Classroom experience because it's just linked to their account. To get that off, you just click remove guardian, those three dots, and then remove guardian. especially if it still says invited and the parent has not initially set it up. So you just go in and click that, and you can type in the parent's email address, or you can copy and paste from Infinite Campus and click invite, and it will automatically send an email to their email address, and they'll get to pick how often they want weekly or bi-weekly or daily updates on what their student has turned in into Google Classroom, upcoming assignments that are due, so that's another reason to use a due date, and then any assignments that have been returned with a grade and comment. So they'll get like a report, and they'll get one report for every class that they're in, like one running report that says, yeah, Miss Pollard science class, the student did this is their grades, and then there'll be a page break in that same email, and then in Mr. Master's social studies class, same thing. They don't get like 5 different emails. Kendall, were you saying that you loved Audrey? I love her too. She's my world. We miss you guys. We really do. She keeps wanting to go to school now. Okay. So that's it for the people page. If you ever need to remove a student, like they leave, you can go to the people page and you click these 3 dots and say that. You don't click the 3 dots. You click the checkbox beside of their name, you click actions, and you can remove them. If we're doing NTI, I keep saying if because I really don't know, but just in case, you can click this box here and click actions, and you can email every single student directly from here. So you just click email, it's going to open up an email, and you just type it exactly the way that you would in normal situations. And then you also have the ability to mute people. Let's say that Audrey is like the nuisance on the class work stream, and I don't want to remove and mute every single student. I can just mute her, and now she can still submit her work. She can't reply to any classmate's work, even if it's a question that I've asked, and the students can reply to one another, and they cannot comment or post on the stream. That's really handy for students who can't handle those privileges. So you can try to take it away and then give it back slowly if you want to, or continue to keep it muted. All right, we're doing good. Laura, yes, and my goal is really to do this with parents just from a student's point of view and not a teacher's point of view. I did one last, it was in May, so just about a month ago or so, and I think a lot of parents are just we're kind of tuned out for the whole school year, but I think if I do another one in August, like early August before school starts, that I'll have better attendance. The last tab is grade. And guys, this grade book is super cool, and I have some really good news. So this grade book is only tied to Google Classroom right now. KDE has purchased or been given. I'm going to say purchased. They could have just been given as a gift. I can't remember. But Infinite Campus and Google Classroom are supposed to be able to talk to one another. That's been a thing since last summer, but it was a paid for feature. But KDE is making it to where we will be able to use that feature. So I'm not trained really well on it yet. I have a training coming up, and I promise that I will make a training, a video, or host a PD session to show you how to do it. Or maybe KDE will have one because my Infinite Campus is set up really weird. So anything that you can put in here, you'll automatically be able to return that into Infinite Campus. It'll have a link, or in the description, it'll say, this is a Google Classroom assignment. Maybe not in those specific words, but it'll say Google Classroom. It'll pull the title of the assignment. It'll pull the grades of the assignment. So if you use Google Forms and it automatically creates it for you, that's one of those things that you have to do. And you don't even have to type it in the Infinite Campus anymore. It's going to automatically pull it. I don't really know how that's going to work just yet, but I'm super excited for that. And I hope that you all are excited too. But now, the grade book. Notice that beside of each assignment that I have 3 dots. If I click on those 3 dots, I have the option to edit, delete, or return all. I also have the option to look at individual assignments that are turned in. Click the 3 dots, and I can view that submission. So Laura, how you were saying earlier that you couldn't see students' work, try that and open up one there, and then you can just use that drop-down menu so you don't have to automatically close it out and go back every time, which you totally could do if you wanted to, but you don't have to. You can also see a class average. So if it's a Google form, you no longer have to go to the Google sheet to look at the averages and use the formula for that. It will automatically do that for you. I think that's super awesome. And then you also have hyperlinks up here at the top to be able to see each of those assignments. So if you click it, you'll be taken to the page where all of your students work. One of the last things to share with you about that is that right here, where I have the roster, my list of students, I can click on individual names, and it's going to show me everything that has been assigned to that student. If it's past the due date, it's going to say missing. Let me go to a classroom that I know that I have students who have been slacking because they're not real students. But see how it says missing here? That means that those students have not turned in that assignment. It will also have it marked as done late. So click on that. I can see that whole list for this student. I can also filter it by things that have just been turned in, things that have been returned with the grade, or if I'm going to a parent conference and I need to print this page, I can just right click and print that and take that with me to said parent conference just for some documentation. So it will just print it and I will have it. But I've used that feature before. I like that because, you know, I need that sometimes. I can also email that to the guardian. So if I needed to type a message, I can include the work summary and automatically email that progress sheet. All right. Do I have any questions so far? Because we just went over a ton more, and I want to make sure that you all are feeling comfortable. Okay. I'm going to grab a drink of water and then we'll continue. Beside of the title of the class, those 3 bars that I talked about where you go to the home page, you can also just click on those and see the calendar. You can scroll down and it shows you every class that you're teaching. So I have a ton. Don't judge me. I'm glad I don't really teach that many classes. I'll lose my mind. And then underneath that, you have ones that you're enrolled in. And you can also find your archived and your settings. For now, I want to focus on the teaching column here, or section. And then notice that there is a to-do Yes. So if I click on that, I want to have a running list of things that I need to review. This is super handy for those students who turn work in late and don't tell you about it. It will show up here. It's super handy just for knowing what you haven't done yet and knowing how many more that you need to grade. You can see that I'm kind of slacking on my fake classrooms here. And then I can filter that by class if I want to. I can go to where it says reviewed and I will be able to see all of the work that I have reviewed. And it's all right there for me. They're all different colors to match the themes of my classroom. So students also have that same option. Yay, Charlene. I'm so sorry I didn't see your email before that break. I had an issue with the Google form because there was some people who didn't get, like they submitted the form, but they didn't get the email, like it didn't send to my sheet. So I will totally send you this link as soon as it's done. Students have the to-do list as well. So underneath enrolled, they just click to do and it looks very similar. So I can filter that by class and I can see all of the assignments that I need to get done. If they have a due date, I can see that due date. And I can also see all of the things that I have done. The archived classes are also located here. So Google will never delete one of your classes. Even if you want to, like, it takes a few steps in order to permanently delete it. So whenever you're in your classes, we talked about earlier, those three dots beside of it, I can click that and I can click archive. If I do that by accident, or let's say that I archive it over Christmas break because I don't want my students to be working over Christmas break or whatever, I can then go back to archive and I can click those three dots and I can restore. I can copy it to where, like, if I had fourth grade last year and I want fourth grade this coming year, I can copy it and it's going to make a brand new classroom with all of those same topics for me. And it won't have my previous students in there. Or I can click delete and that will permanently delete it. And if you permanently delete a class, it's going to delete all of the work the students did, not only from your Google Drive account, but also from theirs. The last button is the settings button. So it's located all the way at the end. And if you click on settings, that's also where you can change your profile picture if you want to do that, one of the places. This is where you can go in and you can get notifications turned on or off for your email. I have all of mine turned off just because. But if I turn it on, you can see why I probably have it turned off because there's a million different things that you get emails for. So you can get emails for comments, you can get emails from work posted, return, invitations, and due date reminders. And then classes that you teach, you can turn on emails for late submissions of your work, resubmissions of your work, invitations to co-teach classes, and then scheduled posts published or failed. And then there's even more class notifications that are hidden. So if you want to turn any of those individual classes on, then you can do that. I really just leave mine turned off because I have the app, the Google Classroom app on my phone, and I get notifications from that. I don't want emails to. That's why. One last thing, and then we'll open it up for questions and I'll give you all the feedback form for the session. One last thing to show you, inside of the settings wheel for specific classes, you can change your class code. So if students give that class code out on TikTok, which is a huge fear of mine because I've seen a lot of videos on TikTok doing that, you can always change it. So you click on it and you just reset it, and it's going to give you a different code. So you don't have to worry about that. If you want to turn your stream off to where students cannot post and comment, then only teachers can post and comment, or students can only comment whatever you want. I typically like to leave mine on students can comment, just because sometimes it asks really good questions on that stream, and then I would mute the people who couldn't handle that ability, like they just can't handle it. At the beginning, we talked about how classwork on the stream, we can hide notifications and we can show attachments and details. We also talked about the Google Meet session and it being visible to students, and we talked about the gradebook already. So that's taking 1 minute. Okay, we talked a whole lot about a whole lot of stuff. Do you all have any questions for me or anything? I'm going to share with you in the chat window a couple of Google Forms. One of these Google Forms is going to be how you get your PD credit for this session. And the other Google form is an anonymous feedback form for me to use for my own continuous growth as a digital learning coach, and just to help me critique, like help me figure out what I need to change about this session before I teach it. So as I'm getting those forms, if you have any questions, feel free to hop on the mic or pop that in the chat. Charlene, I'm going to use the same link, and I'm just going to email all of Franklin County again because I don't know what. This is the first session that I've had multiple sessions in one day for the summer, and I'm wondering if my Google form isn't as beautiful and correct as I thought. So I put sing in form. That is the sign in, not the singing. I mean, you can totally sing as you fill it out if you want to. I won't be able to hear it, but I would love to. Like, that might have been the feedback. Okay, I think that's it. I think what I said was the sign-in form is really not anonymous feedback thing. That one might be, yes. Yes, okay. I sent them backwards. The first one is the anonymous feedback form, which is not mandatory, but highly appreciated. The second one is the sign-in form. And the sign-in form is how I get your PD hours to CJ here at Central Office, and I will email those to her directly after. The sign-in form is also how I get your all's email addresses in order to send you a copy of the video. Whenever I send you a copy of the video, it's going to have a copy of it as well as a transcript of the chat. So you will have that all right there. After you fill those out, you are free to leave. If you have any questions, I'm going to be sitting around till at least 11. So, yeah, thank you so much for joining me, and hopefully you were able to gain some new knowledge about Google Classroom. If you get closer to the beginning of the school year and you're like, I can't remember and I don't have time to watch the whole video, just reach out to me. I'll be happy to help at any time.